lovely viewers. You are most welcome to our channel Poetry Online. In this video, we shall be discussing the summary, detailed analysis, characters, major themes, and setting of the book The Son of Mbele by Bill Marshall. Kindly subscribe to our channel and press the bell icon to get updates on all our new videos. Once again, let us assure you of a very interesting discussion. Get ready for this lesson. The Son of Mbele is an African tragedy written by Bill Marshall. The play is set in a fishing community, and fishing is the main occupation and source of livelihood of the people in this unnamed fishing community. The men go fishing, while the women sell fish. The Son of Mbele is a play in 3 acts. The first act serves as an exposition as it introduces us to the major characters of the play. These characters are Dwella, Sumako, Joshua, Atu, Ziki, Benko, and the peasant woman. Another interesting thing about the play is the fact that most of the actions in this tragedy revolves around a dead woman named Madame Mbele. Mbele is the mother of Joshua. She is rumored to have built an empire and made men her slaves. Even though Madame Mbele is now dead, her fame, power, and influence lives on. Her empire, however, couldn't stand the test of time as it died out after her death. The mere mention of her name brings anger to the peasants as they don't want to have anything to do with her. Sumako's wife, on the other hand, is presented to us as a sick woman. We hear her calling out to her husband every now and then. Sumako is a retired fisherman. He has 4 children, 3 boys and a girl called Dwella. The boys are Benko, Ziki, and Atu. He is an old man who looks rather too strong for his age. The name Sumako means King of the Sea Monsters. It is believed that Sumako's ancestors came by sea from a distant coast and posed as guards. They were all cunning people, and Sumako is the last of the species. Sumako is presented to us as a hospital man who welcomes Joshua without knowing his real identity. And even after knowing that Joshua is the son of the famous Mbele, he still accepts him in his home. Joshua is the son of Mbele, a young boy full of adventure, one who is on a mission to find the third end of a rope. He carries his mother's marks everywhere he goes. He is the tragic hero of this play. He falls in love with Sumako's only daughter, Dwella, and disregards the assertion that something bad or disastrous will happen to the first man who makes a woman out of Dwella. Joshua takes his own life without accomplishing his mission of finding the third end of a rope. His arrival to Sumako's house brought a series of positive changes, some of which includes making Atu to believe that he is not a fool. Dwella is now happier than ever, while Ziki considers the thought of Dwella possessing demons as lavish paganism. Benko, popularly called Big Brother Benko, is the first child of Sumako. He is quick-tempered, irritable, and aggressive, both in action and in utterance. He is fond of using very strong and abusive words. We are also told that he lost a lot in an accident which has made him sour and bitter towards everyone. He shows no brotherly love to Joshua, which eventually leads to a duel between him and Joshua. Ziki is the second son of Sumako. He is a calm gentleman. He has a unique bond with his sister Dwella and discusses everything with her. Ziki loves music, and we see how he composes a song or a dirge to mourn the death of his beloved, whom he lost to a snake bite. Atu is the third son of Sumako. He is presented to us as a fool, but it proves beyond all reasonable doubt that he is not a fool. He runs errands for the family and adds some comic effects to this tragedy. He is presented as someone who loves to drink. He does whatever he is told to do and relies on the utterances of Sumako to make his own points. However, towards the end of the play, he learns a lot from Joshua, which includes carrying himself as someone who is worthy of the respect of others. Duela. Duela is the only daughter of Sumako. She is presented as the woman of the house. She does all the feminine-related tasks in the house, since the mother is paralyzed. She is believed to have been possessed by some demons or Sunsumboni. She falls in love with Joshua, something her family does not expect to happen, since the first man to make a woman out of her will face destruction. She has been accused of everything bad happening in the family due to the demons they think she possesses. With Joshua's arrival in love, she considers herself a free person. In one sense, The Son of Mbele is an African tragedy with thematic elements which are derived from the African life. The play is based on the belief in superstitious beliefs, myths, and demons which are part of the African tradition. As we said earlier, the first act introduces us to the household of an old retired fisherman called Sumako, his wife, and children. The second act sets the scene for the gloom and misery which pervades this tragedy. It also delves into the relationship that exists between Joshua and Duela. The third and final act of the play focuses on the duel between Benko and Joshua, which eventually leads to his death. The central character, Joshua, is a boy full of adventure. Joshua is on a mission to find the third end of a rope. Unfortunately, as often happens in tragedy, something bad happens to the main character, and in Joshua's case, he loses his life without accomplishing his mission of finding the third end of a rope. The dramatist, Bill Marshall, is successful in creating an atmosphere that is decidedly African. He creates a world that contains the ocean, boats, baskets, drums, stools, guns, cutlass, peasant women, the sea, coconut trees, and hills. Mbele is the mother of Joshua, but Joshua's father is unknown. However, even in the absence of Joshua's father, Madame Mbele was able to raise Joshua with all the luxury he needed. She is rumored to have built an empire and made men slaves. Even though Madame Mbele is no more, her fame, power, and influence lives on. Her empire, on the other hand, couldn't stand the test of time due to Joshua's mismanagement. Act 1 begins with Sumako mending his fishing net while anxiously waiting for his children to return from the sea. Sumako, from all indication, is an old man who looks rather too strong for his age. He seems to be worried about his children, who have gone fishing due to the unpredictable nature of the sea. It seems on this particular day, Sumako's children have taken longer to return home, and this gets the old man worried. Sumako, as we said earlier, has 4 children, 3 strong boys and a girl called Duela, who is about 20 years old. The boys are Benko, Ziki, and Atu. Sumako's wife has been seriously sick for some time now. Even though readers are not given a chance to meet her or see her, the cause of her illness is equally unknown to them in this act. However, one can tell that she is really in pain anytime she calls out to her husband or any member of the family. Sumako is presented to us as one who has trained his children to take over from him. Hence, his children were at sea. However, their delay causes him to panic. It is at this point, when Sumako is sick worried about his children, that Joshua enters. Joshua walks in and talks with stubborn confidence. Sumako immediately informs him that the boys are not back from the sea, hence there is no fish for sale. Sumako becomes alarmed when Joshua says he is not there to buy fish. Sumako suspects that Joshua has brought some bad news about his children who went fishing, but the irony of it all is that Joshua has no idea what Sumako is asking him or what Smako is talking about. Through their conversation, a lot is revealed. We are informed of a revengeful woman who made all men pay for their insults. The description of Joshua's mother makes Smako to remember another woman with similar characteristics and qualities. Unknown to Smako that the woman he is talking about is indeed Joshua's mother. Smako says there was only one woman who once did that. Joshua then asks him if this woman was called Madame Mbele, and Smako replies in the affirmative. Immediately Joshua says Madame Mbele is his mother. Smako calls out his name for the first time without even bothering to ask him. This goes to inform us about Madame Mbele's fame, power, and influence. Without asking Joshua his name, he is able to know about him, or he knows his name. And when Joshua shows Smako his mother's marks, Smako becomes alarmed and replies with, "Go away, don't come among us, don't come near us, we are only peasants, we don't want to have anything to do with you." This is because Smako thinks Joshua has his mother's influence and empire. However, Joshua makes it clear to Smako that he is at the moment left with nothing, since he has sold his inheritance and spent the money he made with his friends. We are then informed that Joshua's mission in Smako's house is not to find peace, refuge, or to build another empire, but his mission is simple, and that is to find the third end of a rope, something Smako considers impossible, and that even the famous Mbele can never dare dream to do that. Smako in the opening scene is presented to us as a hospitable person who warmly welcomes Joshua even without knowing his identity. And when his real identity was finally revealed, Smako still accepts him despite the bitter relationship that exists between Madame Mbele and the peasants. Smako's only hope is that his children will equally welcome Joshua to his new home. Due to the persistent call from Smako's wife, he has to throw the fishing net he is mending on Joshua, instructing him to check if there are any holes on it to mend. But Joshua, who was brought up in luxury and new to this occupation, replies with, "The whole net is full of holes." This serves as a comic relief to the tension created by the lateness of Smako's children. Dwella then enters, carrying a pot of water. The conversation and meeting between Dwella and Joshua reveals the following. Joshua is a Christian name taken from the Bible, while Dwella's name is a peasant name. Dwella then warns Joshua not to admire her, since she is carrying something he must avoid. Dwella's family believe that she carries a demon, and that the first man to make a woman of her will find destruction. Dwella then inquires to know what the third end of a rope is, and Smako answers with, "The story of an old legend." Smako begins to tell the story, but he is corrected by Joshua as he got the characters mixed up. Smako continues the story with, "This prince fellow thought he had conquered all and sundry, till one day his mistress asked him to find the third end of a rope. It was a romantic joke, but then the hunter, this prince fellow, took it seriously. The prince set out with his army one morning, and that was the last anyone saw him or his army." Once again, Joshua declares his intention to set off from where the legitimate prince had stopped in an attempt to complete the story. However, Smako entreats him to abandon such an absurd mission. As Dwella leaves the stage to attend to her mother, Smako confidently informs Joshua of the role Dwella plays in the house. We are informed that Dwella runs the house and looks after everything now that her mother is seriously sick. Therefore, Smako tries his best to make sure Dwella does not object to Joshua staying in their house. At this point, he informs Joshua that Dwella likes him. However, there is an obstacle to this, since Dwella is possessed by a demon. We are then introduced to some fishmongers Approaching Sumako's house, Sumako informs Joshua of their fake lifestyle and how they flatter him with their sugar-coated mouths with praises and nice words just to pay less for the fishes they buy. And indeed, the behavior of the fishmongers confirms Sumako's words. These peasant women are holding in their hands baskets. They chant in unison and use praise words like, "The good man Sumako, the ocean does his will, of whom we dream each night. He looks so young, he stays so long." They do this to win Sumako's heart in an attempt to pay less for the fish they buy. Unfortunately for them, Sumako's sons have not returned from the sea. Just then, the three boys come on stage, but without any fish. We get a chance to meet the rest of Sumako's family. We meet Benko, Ziki, and Atu. Benko is Sumako's first son. He is quick-tempered, irritable, and aggressive, both in utterance and in action. One thing the readers notice about him is that he uses very strong and abusive words. He uses words like pigs to describe the fishmongers. From their very first meeting, Benko shows no brotherly love to Joshua. We equally meet Ziki, the second son of Sumako, who is the complete opposite of his brother, Big Brother Benko. Ziki is presented to us as a calm gentleman. Atu, on the other hand, is presented to us as a clown and one who runs errands for the family. He adds some sense of humor to the play, which provides comic relief and lessens the tension created by some tense moments in the play. Towards the end of the first act, we see Dwella and Joshua getting along nicely. The two take a walk to the beach. In this next chapter, we are going to discuss Act 2 of the play. Act 2 begins with Sumako anxiously waiting for Dwella and Joshua to return from the sea. This act delves into the relationship between Joshua and Dwella and exposes us more to the Sumako's family. Act 2 makes available the various sacrifices each member of Sumako's family has had to make, and how Joshua has made a woman out of Dwella. This act begins with Sumako waiting for Dwella and Joshua to return from the sea, and heightens the mystery and gloom which pervades this tragedy. This tension is further heightened when Atu comes back with the news that he hasn't seen Joshua and Dwella at the seaside. Sumako reassures himself about their safety by saying that Dwella and Joshua will soon return from the sea. However, Atu believes that the two might have drowned in the sea and will sooner or later become food for the trouts or the little kobees in the sea. Sumako, on the other hand, dismisses this claim and instructs Atu to go and get a spot for him. However, Atu went without returning. Benko enters at this point, and Sumako asks him about Atu. Benko then tells his father that Atu has gone to the other village. With this, Sumako laments on Atu's drinking habits as he will return home drunk. Sumako and Benko discuss a lot, including how Sumako's wife got paralyzed when Dwella was born. It is clear from all indications that every member of Sumako's household has had to sacrifice one thing or the other. Benko had to sacrifice a lot for being the firstborn of the family. Sumako's wife got paralyzed when Dwella was born. Dwella, on the other hand, would never taste the pleasure of womanhood. Sumako also laments on his inability to afford another wife. These are some of the sacrifices that the members of the family have to make. Sumako then informs Benko that he has warned Joshua about the demon Dwella possesses. Hence, he is sure Joshua won't touch her. But Benko is still not convinced with this, since Joshua thinks that the talk of Dwella being possessed by a demon is primitive and nonsensical. Sumako at this point declares that he has done his part by warning Joshua to stay away from Dwella. He adds that if Joshua goes contrary to his warning, then Joshua will have himself to blame. Sumako leaves the stage to attend to his wife. Just then, Atu comes on stage, slightly drunk. It is revealed that Big Brother Benko sent Atu on an errand. However, the details are not fully revealed to the readers. That is, readers are not aware or do not know in full details what Atu was sent to do. Atu quickly and repeatedly informs Benko that the money he gave him to run the errand was not enough and that he had to add his own money. Atu reports that the man says Benko won't have to wait too long enough to regain all that he lost in the accident. However, the man added that all this will happen on one condition, and that is, in the next 7 days, if Dwella still remains a virgin, then her demons will be casted away and she can even have a man without any harm. Another interesting thing that catches readers' attention is the question that Benko asks his father. Father, what is the third end? Sumako replies by saying, it is only a proverb. The curious mind finds the third end. However, further utterances by Sumako reveals that there is a third end after all. Benko laments on the way Dwella has taken to Joshua, since he fears that Joshua's life is in danger. Sumako then becomes suspicious that Benko is up to something, since Benko doesn't like Joshua, and that he hasn't shown him any brotherly love since he arrived. Again, Sumako reveals that the third end of a rope is with a person all the time, hence there's no need going to look for it. His only hope is that Joshua finds it. Just then, Dwella and Joshua come on stage. The two, from all indication, are happy and enjoying each other's company. Benko, on the other hand, scans his sister thoroughly to make sure that she's still a virgin. He even went on to ask funny questions like, Dwella, there's sand on your head. Dwella's reply makes this scene a funny one. She replies by saying, there's plenty more of sand on the beach, and that's where I've been. Further utterances from Benko only attract sarcastic answers from his sister, Dwella, who seems to have found some new confidence to defend herself. Dwella has for a long time now taken wholesale everything that comes from her family members. However, with her encounter with Joshua, everything is about to change, or everything has changed. Dwella, after meeting Joshua, now believes that she carries no curse or any demon. Joshua shows love to Dwella, and Dwella reciprocates this love. She also shows a sense of appreciation when Joshua praised her. Dwella has for a long time now been treated like an outcast by her own family members, but now she's in love with Joshua, something the family does not expect to happen. Not only that, Dwella informs her father that Joshua has made a woman out of her. Dwella's wish is that she wants to be happily in love with Joshua, and what's more, Joshua is going to live every minute of his life and maybe see his child born. In Dwella's own words, and maybe another, and another, and another, and yet another, and they'll grow up like everyone else, and they're going to run around our own backyard and play together, and laugh together, and be together. But one more thing, they will not live among peasants like you and you. Big Brother Benko quickly reminds Dwella that she's also a peasant woman. However, Dwella's reply is that of someone who has lost respect for her elderly brother. She refused to be calmed by Joshua, as she has had enough of his accusations and name-calling. In Dwella's own words, let me tell them, they've not stopped accusing me since I was born. I've got this, I've got that, I'm responsible for this, I'm to be blamed for that. They have made me pay for my mother's condition. They'll tell everybody I've got the demon. Dwella equally informs readers that Big Brother Benko started all the name-calling and accusation. Benko then tells Dwella not to start calling him names. However, Joshua believes that Benko deserves the disrespect that he got from Dwella. This gets Benko very angry and he leaves for Joshua, but Smako restrained him by his commanding voice. He reconciles Joshua and Benko through a handshake, then returns into the house. Smako is left on stage with Dwella and Joshua. Dwella laments on the various accusations she received from the family and society at large. But at long last, she has finally found happiness in Joshua. She feels like running around the village, shouting, "This is Dwella, the new flower, the complete woman, the new spirit." But I shall not do that, she says. The peasants will not understand me. They will think I'm mad. They will say, "Dwella has gone round the village. Let's take her to the madhouse." I don't want them to take me to the madhouse, so I'll become and enjoy my fulfillment. Smako at this point expresses happiness in his daughter's newfound happiness. He says, "I'm happy for you, child." Smako then exits the stage after a series of utterances, leaving Joshua and Dwella alone on stage. The two continue with their sweet love talk until someone threw Joshua's mask onto the stage. Joshua picks it up and tells Dwella that Mother doesn't like me staying up late. However, Dwella tells him to wait a little bit longer since Ziki is yet to return from his woman's place. Dwella then informs the audience and readers on how close she is with Ziki, her brother. She tells us that Ziki practically tells her everything. It is past midnight and Ziki hasn't returned from his woman's place. Just then, they hear the guitar music from a distance, and Dwella guesses right that this is her brother Ziki. Ziki comes on stage, but his mood contrasts sharply with how Dwella described him to Joshua. Ziki looks glum and listless. He stopped playing the guitar and is just standing there, staring at Joshua and Dwella. It is clear from all indication that all is not well with Ziki. But what could this be? Readers are informed that Ziki has lost his woman. When asked what happened, Ziki says she took some food to her brothers in the field. They look after sheep there, so she takes them their meal each day. Today, when she got there, one small lamb got frightened and fled into the bush. I don't know why the lamb got scared of her, but he ran into the bush, so they all went after it. My woman went too. That was when she got bitten by the snake. They caught the lamb as my woman lay there, snake venom in her veins. Dwella sympathizes with her brother for his loss, since she knows what that woman means to her brother. After hearing that Dwella is no more a flower bud, Ziki then accuses her of killing his woman. He believes that since Dwella has gotten somebody, then she shouldn't be violated, and no man should have made a woman out of Dwella. But the narrative today is different, since she is no more a flower bud. Dwella defends herself by saying certain things happen by chance, and she can't be blamed for it. Dwella leads her sad brother into the house, leaving Joshua alone on stage. Joshua, in a dramatic monologue, and also with the use of apostrophe, addresses the misconception Madame Mbele had about the peasants. He equally states with a settled conviction his desire to search for the third end of a rope. In the next chapter, we are going to discuss the final act of the play. The final act of the play mixes comedy and tragedy as a way of heightening Joshua's death. Joshua's arrival into Samako's household has brought a lot of positive changes. Dwella, from all indication, is happy with his presence and has found some confidence and self-respect thanks to Joshua. Atu, on the other hand, no longer saw himself as the fool everyone in the family makes him believe he is. Ziki is equally influenced by Joshua's presence. The only character who is not fascinated by Joshua's presence is Big Brother Benko. Act 3 begins in the morning, and Sumako's family is preparing to go to the seaside. Atu is seen busily folding a fishing net and packing other gears into a cane basket. Atu tries his best to stop Joshua from following them to the seaside, since Benko is still angry with Joshua about the incident that happened the previous night. However, Joshua is not bothered about Benko's bad temper. He went ahead to add that, "I'm not backing out simply because Big Brother Benko feels sour." Atu replies with, "I'm only trying to be helpful. You see, this accident ruined his life. It left him very sour and irritable, but we don't talk about it. He's not going to forget what you've done to him. He had only 7 days to wait. Now, you have spoiled it all for him." Joshua doesn't understand what Atu means by this. But since Sumako doesn't object to him going to the seaside, he sees no reason to be worried about Big Brother Benko's anger, since Sumako runs everything that happens there and not Benko. But Atu informs him that, inasmuch as Sumako runs everything there, Sumako wouldn't be with them in the middle of the ocean. Hence, there is a need to fear Big Brother Benko's bad temper. When Joshua asks if Atu is trying to tell him something, Atu replies with, "I can't express myself. I'm worse than a dolt. You hear them call me a fool all the time. I'm the dolt of the family. They send me on errands and treat me like a mascot." Atu continues to tell Joshua how much he despises his family for making him look stupid, when indeed their stupidity overflows. He reveals when Sumako asks him to go and look for Joshua and Duela at the seaside, he intentionally told Sumako that he couldn't find them, when indeed he saw the two. And what was his reason? He didn't want to spoil anything for them, especially for Duela, who is clearly in love with Joshua. He explained that his family will believe whatever he tells them because they think he is not clever enough to fabricate stories. Atu then asked Joshua if his mother was sick, just as his mother. Joshua then revealed to him that he is the son of Mbele. The mere mention of Madame Mbele makes Atu upset to no small degree. He expresses his surprise in Joshua, the son of Mbele, who wants to come and live among peasants, and what's more, he wants to go to the seaside and handle fish, which will make him stink like a pig. Atu reveals further that the whole village is going to come rushing to their house if they know that Joshua is the son of Madame Mbele. Thus, the whole village will be willing to kill him. He equally told Joshua that Big Brother Benko will kill him if he finds out who he really is, since rumor has it that Madame Mbele has something to do with the accident, since she wanted men to attend to her. Also, through their conversation, we find the changes that Sumako's house has witnessed ever since Joshua arrived there. Atu reveals that Joshua has put a smile on Duela's face. He heard her singing while performing her morning chores. Interestingly, this is the first time she did so wholeheartedly without cursing anyone. His only prayer is that his sister goes on laughing for a long time. It is clear from all indications that Atu is fond of using second-hand ideas from people, especially his father. He seems not to have an opinion of his own. He always relies on Sumako's words to make a point or to prove a point. When asked if he ever says anything original, he replies with, "I carry a tag round my neck, like a dog. The label reads, Atu the dolt, fool of the family. Everything comes to me second-hand. I accept it without malice, and I have no rancor." Joshua's reply does not go down well with Atu, as he thinks Joshua is overestimating or overrating a peasant's mind by speaking or talking like a book without stopping to know whether or not Atu understands what he is saying. However, Joshua tells him that peasants are also humans. They can be intelligent. This remarks contrast sharply with the idea Madame Mbele has about the peasants. According to Atu, your mother didn't think so. She thought we were less human, animals. For the first time, Atu replies Joshua intelligently with his own words without relying on Sumako's words to do so. He proudly said, "She had a right to think that way, of course. The rules allow it. and some of the rules must be obeyed. Now, those are my own words. I don't mind telling you that. Joshua then tells Atu that, at least, that proves something. It proves that you have some imagination after all. It proves you can exert yourself and make others respect you. Why don't you try? Try. Atu, try. Just then, Dwella enters, carrying a pail of water on the head. When Dwella rudely asks Atu to open the lid, Atu replies with, at least, you could say please. This reply definitely surprises Dwella, for this is the first time such a word is coming from Atu. After Dwella asks politely, Atu removes the lid and helps his sister to empty the water into the drum. After which he dumps the fishing net into the basket, lifts it, and storms off to the seaside. Dwella still expresses shock in Atu's polite request. She says, he has never been like this before. He always does as he is told. Joshua believes that maybe he has found out something. Maybe he has found out that he deserves some respect like anyone else. You all take him for granted. With this, Dwella shows appreciation to Joshua for the series of positive changes Smako's house is witnessing ever since he arrived in the house. In Dwella's own words, "Oh Joshua, why didn't you come to us earlier? This is what we need. A tonic in the family, someone to tell how to go on living in confidence and self-respect and understanding." Ziki then appears on stage. He is still sleepy. He admits that he doesn't feel too bad this morning, despite the fact that he lost his beloved the previous night. He gladly announced that he is going to the carnival. He again added that, "I have got a funeral to attend, but I am not missing the carnival for that big ocean. I am going to the carnival, and I'm going to find myself a woman, another woman with big bosom." It is Dwella's wish to follow her brother to either the funeral or the carnival, since she has never been to any. However, Ziki informs her that folks are going to be pointing accusing fingers at her. But Dwella replies by saying, "I don't mind, they do that all the time. I'm used to it." Ziki equally expresses shock in Dwella's behavior. He has never seen her so happy since she was born. When Dwella left the stage, Joshua and Ziki had a lovely conversation, through which the following was revealed. The name Smako means King of the Sea Monsters. It is believed that Smako's ancestors came by sea from a distant coast and posed as guards. They were all cunning people, and Smako is the last of the species. Atu then comes on stage, this time pleased with himself and whistling. He came to ask if they are all ready to go to the seaside. When asked why he's in a rush, Atu replies with, "The sea is calm and the wind is good. With 4 men in the boat, we are going to catch big fish, big trouts." However, Ziki informs Atu of his inability to follow them to the seaside since he has a funeral to attend. We find a dramatic irony here. Atu is ignorant of the fact that Ziki's woman is dead, since he attributes Ziki's inability to go to the seaside to laziness and the carnival in town. Atu also sympathizes with Ziki for his loss and looks for Benko. Big brother Benko tells Atu that they are not going fishing since Ziki will be absent. Therefore, 2 men cannot do the work of 3. Big brother Benko was informed that Joshua is standing in for Ziki. However, Benko dismisses that rudely. Benko still laments that he had only 7 days to regain all that he lost in the accident until Joshua ruined it. But it turns out that there was no hope to regain all that he lost in the accident because Atu never went to any man. In Atu's own words, "I made it all up. You wanted something to hope for, to hold on to. I gave you one." Further utterances revealed that Atu spent the money Benko gave him on drinks, and to cover up for what he has done, he brought back some stuff, which consists of spring water colored with a clove leaf. With this, Atu proves beyond all reasonable doubt that he is not a fool. He has got some brains in his skull. He shows gratitude to Joshua for making him a liberated person now, one who deserves respect. Big brother Benko, on the other hand, believes that Joshua has set his brother and sister against him. The two get into a heated argument until Smako's voice is heard from an open window. He inquires to know what is happening, and Ziki replies with, "There is a bit of an argument between Joshua and Benko. I guess they want to settle it between themselves." Smako then tells Benko that, "I remember talking to you about Joshua. I remember telling you to cool off and try making friends with him. You don't know who he is. You don't know what he is bringing us, but you won't listen." When asked if the two want to settle their feud by gun and dagger, both Benko and Joshua agree to the duel. Atu, on the other hand, is not in agreement with this new arrangement. He says, "I don't like this. Benko, I don't like this. Let's not color the day black. Let's go to the carnival." Just then, peasant women enter on stage, all dressed up to their seat in poly colors and each holding a tambourine and in a mood for merriment. We find them singing and shaking their tambourine. Smako appears on stage with a gun and a dagger. With this, the women run off stage as Smako places the weapons in the middle of the stage. The knife is blunt with disuse, but it has a poison tip. The shotgun, on the other hand, is loaded with one bullet and fires only once. Joshua was lucky enough to pick up the shotgun, while Big Brother Benko is left with a dagger. Smako then instructs them to go to the seaside since he doesn't want to witness such a horrible thing. He concludes by saying, "When it's over, we shall come and collect the body." Joshua walks off to the seaside, while Benko reluctantly makes to follow him. A second later, we hear the loud bang of a gunshot. Benko runs back on stage with news that Joshua has killed himself. Smako sympathizes with his only daughter, Duela, who is fond of Joshua. He states that she will have to find another man who will not come searching for the third end. Just then, Smako's wife, who was assumed dead, calls out to her husband. Some of the major themes of the play include the following. The theme of superstition. The whole play revolves around superstitious beliefs. Smako's family believes that Duela is possessed by some evil spirits. Hence, they attribute everything negative to her. They equally believe that the first man to make a woman of Duela will find destruction. The theme of love. The play celebrates the idea of love. We find out in the play that Joshua's love changed Duela's life for good. It was revealed that she was never seen happy ever since she was born until Joshua arrived in Smako's house. Duela equally reciprocates this love. Ziki, on the other hand, has a lover in another village, and it is clear how precious this woman is to him. The theme of hospitality. The play also stresses on the need to be hospitable to people. Smako welcomes Joshua to his household without knowing his real identity. And even after knowing his real identity, he still welcomes him to his house and engages Joshua in their family business, which is fishing. The theme of appreciation. The theme of appreciation becomes relevant when we find members of the Smako's family showing appreciation to Joshua for the series of positive changes he has brought to Smako's house. We equally come across the theme of adventure. The theme of death. The theme of lamentation. And the destructive nature of anger. Thanks so much for watching this video. Please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share this video. So we'll meet again in our next lesson. Bye for now.